Hey, and welcome back. We talked a lot about job interviews lately, in particular how to effectively answer certain questions and what mistakes you should avoid in order to make a good impression on your interviewer. However, there's one element of the interview that we haven't spent a lot of time on: the conclusion. It's easy to get so caught up in preparing for the rest of it, it's easy to forget that the ending of the interview can indeed make or break your chances of getting the job. In this video, we're going to cover a few things you should do to end your interview effectively, leaving a lasting impression on the hiring manager and hopefully ensure that you get the job offer. But before we get started, as always, a quick reminder to like, subscribe, click that bell, completely free and really helps us out a lot. End on a high note. As the interview comes to a close, it's easy to get complacent. Maybe you aced it and are feeling confident about your chances, or conversely, think you blew it. Either way, you're probably thinking about leaving. It's easy to want to get to the end and get out. As the interview concludes and pressure builds, you may panic and spit out something general and unorganized. Beware. Rushing through your conclusion and not taking the time to end on a high note could sour even the best interviews. The end of the interview will be the last thing your interviewer remembers, so you want to leave with a good impression. The best way to end the interview on a high note is to iterate your interest in the position as well as your relevant qualifications and skills to ensure the interviewer knows that you're the best for the job. Refer back to earlier points in the interview with phrases like, "as I said earlier," or drop some additional information with, "that reminds me of a time," or something along those lines. Remind the interviewer that you're passionate about the role with positive statements like, "this role sounds perfect for me. I'm excited about this position. I'm looking forward to hearing back from you about the job." Anything you can do to emphasize your excitement without being overbearing is key to ending the interview on a high note. Keep it professional and polite. How do you keep yourself from being overbearing and coming off as too enthusiastic at the end of the interview? Remember to keep things polite and professional. As the interview concludes, remember to sincerely thank everyone involved for their time and restate what a pleasure it was to have the chance to interview with them. If appropriate, give them a firm handshake while maintaining eye contact and a great smile. If you get the chance and it's appropriate for the situation, it's common courtesy to also send a message or email of appreciation as a follow-up within the next day or so after the interview. This is not only polite, but also acts as a way to keep yourself at the forefront of their mind as they continue the hiring process. Ask questions. Almost all job interviews conclude with the interviewer asking, "do you have any questions for us?" This may seem like a simple, polite way to end the interview, but don't let that fool you. It's arguably the most important question of the entire interview. As such, it's good practice to come to the interview with some questions prepared. Throughout this series of job interview videos, I've reiterated the importance of doing research on the company and the role. This shows the hiring manager that you're interested in the position beyond the paycheck and have some background knowledge of the organization and its history and goals. The questions you ask give you the chance to show the interviewer that you've done your research and have put serious thought into the role and your future should you get hired. If you're struggling to come up with questions based on your research, consider even asking a question you already know the answer to. You may also find that questions arise naturally during the interview process. Make sure your questions are pointed and relevant. Here are some potential directions you can head in: the company's future plans or goals, the company's history, the work environment or team culture, other aspects of the job beyond listed responsibilities, local area competition. Finally, there are a few generic questions that you'll always want to ask. Let's cover those right now. Find out the next steps. You should never ever tell the job interviewer that you don't have any questions or comments for them at the end of the interview. For one, it doesn't show engagement in the company or interest in the role. Secondly, and more importantly, it simply isn't true. There are questions everyone should ask at the end of a job interview, no matter the role you're applying for. You want to ask the interviewer two key questions. What happens next? When should I expect to hear back from you? You never want to leave a job interview without knowing at least a little bit about the company's hiring timeline. Where are they in the process? Do they have more candidates to screen? How long will it take for them to reach a decision? When do they expect the role to start? If there are any further steps you should take, or at least prepare for should you get the role, make sure you know. There's nothing worse than leaving a job interview without knowing what happens next. You may end up waiting days or weeks or even months without an update. Make sure that you have a way to contact the job interview and they have a way to contact you. You might also ask when a good time to follow up with them would be. However, it's always good practice to follow up within a week of the interview at least. This just about wraps up this video on how to effectively conclude a job interview. If you have other tips or stories about effectively concluding job interviews, please comment below. Love to hear from you. Otherwise, if you like this video, want to see more like it, please consider liking, subscribing, and clicking that bell. Really means a lot and helps us out with the algorithm. Also, don't forget to add me at Preston_Park as I try my best to post daily. Other than that, thank you so much again, and we'll see you on the next one.